While the biggest weekend of the college football season is closing in fast, this week, week 6, will provide a bit of separation before the showdown-filled slate next week in week 7. The Big Ten offers 2 top 25 matchups, with number 25 Michigan State traveling to number 4 Ohio State and number 14 Iowa playing at number 19 Michigan. Losses by either MSU or Michigan would basically eliminate them from the Big Ten and college football playoff picture. But the biggest game is found in the SEC. 10th ranked Florida will host number 7 Auburn in a clash between 5-0 teams. Those marquee contests highlight our preview of college football week number 6. Hello, friends, and welcome to week 6 of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. I am your host, Anthony Florio. I am joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. He is out right now. We don't know when or if he'll be here. If he comes in, we will catch him up on what he missed in rapid fire style. If not, then he will be back with us. I can confirm he'll be with us tomorrow night for the most anticipated cerebral smack talk show in history. More on that at the end of the show. But for right now, week 6 of College Football Thursday. Before we start, I want to take a quick moment to apologize to all of you wonderful viewers out there for the inconvenience of last week. A very bizarre technical difficulty gave us no choice but to cancel our show a week ago. But thankfully, everything has been taken care of. Everything's running normally as it should be. And we're ready to go here. And we are going to keep an eye on another very entertaining Thursday night football game. Last week, we had the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers. This week, we got the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. And man, oh man, we're on the verge of another 5-star Shakespearean drama classic like we had at Lambeau a week ago. I mean, back and forth, these two are going, and man, it is fun to watch, let me tell you. So tune into Fox or NFL Network or whatever you have and just enjoy the ride. It's going to be fun. We'll keep an eye on it. If anything breaking happens, we'll be sure to alert you.
Yeah, as of right now, it's now 28-21. LA just scored just seconds ago while you were talking to set this up. Todd Gurley, another touchdown. That's his second of the night from 1 yard out. The PAT was good with 3:07 remaining in the third quarter. It is the Los Angeles Rams 28, the Seattle Seahawks 21. Back to you, Florio.
Yes, sir. We got a good one. We got a good one brewing. But equally as good, week 6 of College Football Thursday. We got a triple main event as well as some sleeper games, and we're going to kick it off with a sleeper game. I consider this, honestly, the sleeper game of the week right here. It'll go down tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. We have the number 18 UCF Knights squaring off against the Cincinnati Bearcats at Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati. This is going to be over on ESPN. We have Chris Cotter, Mark Herzlich, the former Oregon coach, as well as Jim Mora Jr., who formerly was at UCLA. And you have Paul Carcaterra roaming the sidelines. And as far as the spread is concerned, spread right now favors, I believe it's UCF who's favored. Yes, only by 4.5. So those are all the schematics here. So let's get into this one. Temple may factor into the race eventually, but this contest is likely a battle for our American Athletic Conference Eastern Division supremacy. Although UCF has an explosive offense, Cincinnati is equipped to keep this a low-scoring game at home. However, the Knights have surrendered just 4.8 yards a pass attempt. For Cincinnati to pull the upset, Desmond Ridder must push the ball downfield. But nonetheless, I still have UCF winning. It's going to be close. I say UCF will win. My final score, I'm going to go a little lower scoring than you think. I'm going to go 27-23. UCF over Cincinnati. So nothing more to say. MF, we kick it off tomorrow night with what I consider personally the sleeper game of the week.
Oh, and absolutely. You could easily make an argument that this could be the sleeper game of the week. No doubt about it. I'm going to go with UCF as well. I think that they're going to be the more better team. This is going to be a down to the wire type game. I totally agree with that. But my final score is I think it's going to be 28-23. That's the final score I got. UCF winning. Florio, let's move on. Next game.
And now we get into the Saturday slate. MF, you'll be leading off on this first one here. As soon as I get everything set up here. All right. We have 6 high noon games. This one, unfortunately, I do believe will be on the Zonk side of things.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. High noon over on the SEC network. We have the number 5 LSU Tigers at home at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, not under the lights this time around. They're going to be hosting the Aggies of Utah State. SEC Network will have it. We have Dave Neal, DJ Shockley, Dawn Davenport on the sidelines. LSU opening up as a 27.5-point favorite. MF, I smell a Viking Raiders type squash here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I also agree with that. I think it will be Viking Raider squash time on this one. I just don't see how much of a difference this game is going to be. I think LSU is just going to go out there, handle their business, beat them down. Easy victory for me. I got LSU winning and winning going away in a laugher. So nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's all yours, bro.
Yeah. Easy one here, no doubt about this. Now, I'll tell you what, though. This is an important game for Utah State quarterback Jordan Love, who has attracted some attention as a potential first-round NFL draft pick. LSU, meanwhile, has ceded only 6.4 yards per pass attempt. The Tigers will overwhelm Utah State's defense, but the Love versus LSU storyline is worth following. But I do have LSU winning this one rather handily, 45-21 LSU over Utah State. So nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next matchup. Another interesting matchup here. This is I don't know if you want to call this intriguing or not. High noon over on ABC. The number 6 Oklahoma Sooners squaring off against the Kansas Jayhawks at David Booth Memorial Stadium in Lawrence, Kansas. And on the call for that one will be Dave Patch, Greg McElroy, and Tom Luganbill. And the spread favors Oklahoma by 35.5. Okay. Les Miles, Mad Hatter, you know him. He just watched his defense allow 300-plus rushing and passing yards to TCU. The last person he wants to see is Jalen Hurts, who is averaging 434.5 total yards, despite having 6 combined runs and passes in all fourth quarters combined. Nothing more to say on this. Oklahoma's going to win in a laugher, 52-13. They're going to rock chalk those Jayhawks in Lawrence. Nothing more to say. MF Oklahoma football will show Kansas why they're not a football school, but more of a basketball school.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. I got no arguments on this one, Florio. I got really nothing more to add to Oklahoma all the time on this one. It's going to be a long afternoon for the Raw Jock Jayhawks. I think they'll try to make it interesting, but they're just too powerful. The Oklahoma's too powerful. They're on a mission right now. They're on a mission because they want to prove without a shadow of a doubt that they're the best team. But Anthony, look what's behind Kansas.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Can you say Bedlam?
Yeehaw. That's all there is to say on that. Showdown.
Next week is going to be nuts.
I mentioned that at the top. Week 7 next week. You thought tonight's show was good. Wait till you see what we have in store for you next week. That's all there is to say on that. So
must see, high in def. I mean, we haven't had a real in-depth episode of College Football Thursday. Next week, you're basically gonna hear Anthony Floyer go Chris Fowler, and I'm gonna be Kirk Herbstreit next week on a number of these games.
Oh my goodness, that's all I'm gonna say on this. And what a time to be alive! Let me tell you that right now. With this, the NFL, hockey just started. Let's go Rangers! Artemi Panarin, you are a stud. That's all I'm gonna say, and we're so happy to have him. Let me tell you, we're so blessed and grateful.
Dude, the team looked great tonight. I know we're a college football show, but let's just take a moment, man. We just beat the Winnipeg Jets.
And they are
Jets were a playoff. Yeah, the Jets were a playoff team last year. They're no slouches, and we just beat them 6-4 tonight in the Garden.
And let's not forget the Winnipeg Jets 2018 went all the way to the Western Conference Finals before losing to the Vegas Golden Knights, a series that we actually did. We were so intrigued. That's how intrigued we were.
So I mean, Winnipeg will be fine. But if you're the New York Rangers, I know a lot of people says, "Oh, this could be a rebuilding year for the Rangers." Some of the experts even have the Rangers actually having a shot to sneak into the wild card. I would gladly take that any day of the week. Be back in the postseason. I think I'm gonna say this, just for a second. I think New York is maybe a year or two away from challenging for the Stanley Cup. If we just put our pieces together, keep the young core, add a couple of guys from free agency, we might be talking about Stanley Cup contenders in about a year or two. We haven't had the taste of the cup since we made that golden, 94 was great, but that unbelievable run to make it to the final. And trust me, we want it. We're right there. We're itching. We're itching to get it. And Dan Quinn, if you keep pushing the right buttons, brother, I think we're gonna get there. We're not there yet. I think we're a year or two away, but we're going in the right direction. We sped up the rebuild process when we got Panarin. Yeah. We sped up the rebuild process a whole bunch.
Yep, and he's there. But the point I was trying to make was this is the best time of the year for sports fans. I mean, with college football, with the NFL in full swing, hockey just starting, baseball playoffs underway, and then within the next few weeks, in about 3 or 4 weeks, the NBA.
In about 3 weeks, I think right at the end of October, the NBA is supposed to be tipping off. So yeah, we're about 3 weeks away from the NBA.
And of course, let's not forget the world of professional wrestling. With what we saw last night with NXT, AEW Dynamite, amazing. And then, of course, what we're going to have tomorrow night with Friday Night SmackDown. And at the end of the show, I'm going to make a bold prediction about how I feel about that show. And it has nothing to do with what happens on the show. It's what I think will happen in the ratings. Not often I get into that, but I will. But enough of that. What a time to be alive. And let's get into our next matchup here. So I believe MF will be starting off on our next matchup here. This is another high noon game. This one over on ESPN University. The number 8 Wisconsin Badgers at home at Camp Randall Stadium. They're going to be hosting the Golden Flashes of Kent State, the alma mater of one Dolph Ziggler. ESPN University will have this one. We have Clay Matvick with Ryan Leaf and the legendary Dr. Jerry Punch. Great to see him back.
Oh, yes.
Wisconsin opening up as a 35-point favorite. MF, this game is going to be as ugly as those Wisconsin unis from last week. What were those?
You know what? I tried. I was thinking about the same thing. I think because as many of you guys know, this year is the 150th anniversary of college football.
That's right.
Maybe this was a throwback to a nod to the yesteryear, to way back in
Very
the
likely.
day. More than likely, and trust me, there's been some jerseys even in the NFL, and that and you know it's the 100th anniversary of the NFL, and as a matter of fact, this year, and this has been very underlined, and nobody really talked about this. It's the 150th anniversary of Major League Baseball.
Wow.
Yeah, it kind of went under the radar. Nobody knew about it.
No.
But yeah, I think this year is year one. It's the 150th season of Major League Baseball. So, with all that being said, I gotta say, yeah, this has been an incredible. Yeah, the uniforms ugly. I mean, I'm not even gonna touch that, but they have performed. They dominate. They've been playing great. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And I do believe that Wisconsin will win this one pretty handily in a laugher. Nothing more to say. Florio, it is yours.
Yes, indeed. The inglorious honor of most difficult non-conference schedule goes to Kent State, which also traveled to Arizona State, got beat down 30-7. And they also went to Auburn. They got beat down 55-16. Wisconsin's powerful rushing attack will add a third ugly loss to Kent State's resume, but the Golden Flashes can finally move on with 2019 after this week. So Wisconsin in a laugher, 45-10. Nothing more to say. Let's move on here. High noon over on ESPN. We have the number 12 Penn State Nittany Lions at home at Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley. They're going to be hosting the Boilermakers of Purdue in a Big Ten matchup. We have Bob Wischusen, Dan Orlovsky, and Allison Williams on the call. And Penn State opening up as a 28.5-point favorite. Did I read that right? Yes, 28.5-point favorite for Penn State. Let me see what I have here. Okay. This is a rough time for Purdue. Star wideout Rondale Moore and quarterback Elijah Sindelar were injured on the same play. Moore with the leg injury is out Saturday, and Sindelar with a collarbone might be done for the season. Without them, Purdue simply doesn't have the offensive firepower to keep up with Penn State. So Penn State in a laugher, same score as the last game, 45-10. Penn State over Purdue. Nothing more to say. MF, hard times for Purdue. Their two-star offensive studs are both out.
Yeah, and that sucks. That you just can't count it out. You just can't come back from that. You try your best. You try to handle the situation, but I just don't see it happening. Penn State wins as well in a laugher. So go ahead, Florio, it's yours.
Yes, and now we move on. And hey, this is the Michael Fletcher special, the good old MF special right here. This next game, this is the first of our three huge main events from the Big Ten. High noon on Fox. The number 14 Iowa Hawkeyes squaring off against the number 19 Michigan Wolverines. Michigan Stadium in the Big House in Ann Arbor. The A team for Fox will be there. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, Jenny Taft, they will be there. And according to the spreads, Michigan, believe it or not, Michigan is actually the favorite here, but only by 3.5 points. It's only fitting we started off with good old MF Michael Fletcher. This is an MF special. His Michigan Wolverines going up against. Now, it's not often he shows love to a Big Ten rival, but this is the one team that he actually does show love for, and that's Iowa. So, MF, something has to give here.
Yeah, something has to give, no doubt about it. But Iowa is a really good team. So that's why I always give a lot of respect to them. Whenever they play, they always play wicked good when it's at home, but now they're going on the road. They're coming to the big house. Over 100,000 is going to be there, ready, rooting, fired up more than ever before. At the end of the day, I kind of feel like Michigan is going to win the game. I just feel like, but the thing is that, all right, the problem Michigan has is they just can't keep the football. They can't defend the football. They make a lot of mistakes. They make a lot of errors. And that's one thing that you can't do. You cannot make those kind of errors in a game. You do that, you're going to lose the game. You want to know why? It's pretty simple. When you make turnovers, when you make those mistakes, it comes back to bite you. And that's what happened in the game against Wisconsin. That's why Michigan got blown out in Madison, because they turned the ball over a number of times, made a lot of mistakes in the game, and that's why they lost it. They can't make those kind of mistakes against Iowa because Iowa will make them pay. I think Michigan has a better defense than Iowa. I think it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be down to the wire, but I do got Michigan finding a way to win this game and keep their narrow hopes alive to win the Big Ten. This is one of those games that they need to win. So nothing more to say. I got Iowa winning. Yeah, that's it. So I got Michigan knocking off Iowa. Final score 27-21. Anthony, go.
Yeah. The first of our big games right here. 2 weeks ago at Wisconsin, Michigan looked completely overwhelmed at the line of scrimmage. Iowa has only 11 tackles for loss, yet the defense has allowed just 3.4 yards to carry and 0 rushing scores. Shea Patterson must carry the Wolverines, but the evidence he's ready to handle that responsibility is not there as of yet. Michigan has a chance for a significant rebound win against a good Iowa team on Saturday. The Hawkeyes have earned their 4-0 record with mistake-free football, committing only 1 turnover through a third of the season. Nate Stanley isn't flashy, but has 8 touchdowns and no interceptions. The Hawkeyes' defense is stout as well, ranking 5th in total defense, 251 yards a game, and 3rd in scoring defense, 8.5 points a game. This game really depends on whether Shea Patterson can build off his big game against Rutgers and continue developing in Josh Gaddis' offense. Iowa has won each of the last 2 meetings against the Wolverines by a combined 4 points. I agree with MF. We think it's another one-possession game. And he's going with a Wolverines team that's out to prove something after its humiliating loss to Wisconsin. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is the toughest game for me to call right here. Out of all the games here, this one is far and away the toughest. Well, actually, this and another one of our games of the week is very tough to call. I mean, I don't know why, but my gut is telling me to go with Iowa here. But I would not be surprised if Michigan were to pull it out. But I think the final score is going to be 24-20. Who do I see going over? Well, I'm sorry, MF. I got to respectfully disagree with you. I have to go with Iowa here, even though it is in Michigan. Your boys just aren't ready for prime time. I mean, after what happened with Wisconsin, I know it was at Wisconsin. That's understandable, but I don't know. I mean, Iowa, they scare me. So I don't know, but I would love to see Michigan win. For you, to keep your slim hopes alive. But I don't know. It's very tough. But regardless of who wins, I think the final score either way will be 24-20. That's just how I see it. So, but it's going to be fun to watch. I'll be watching, no doubt about it. So, our final high noon kickoff, Fox Sports 1 will have it. The number 21 Oklahoma State Cowboys squaring off against the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. And on the call for this one will be, let me see if I can find it. Yep, we have Brian Custer, Kevin Smith, and Robert Patterson. They will have the call for that one. And Oklahoma State opening up as a 10-point favorite. So let me find this matchup. Okay. In 2 games with power conference teams, Texas Tech has mustered only 30 points. Perhaps a return to Lubbock will assist the Red Raiders, but a dynamic Oklahoma State rushing attack, 10th nationally in yards a carry, is built to take advantage of a soft run defense. Texas Tech surrendered a combined 515 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground to Arizona and Oklahoma. What does that tell you? It tells you that Texas Tech is going to lose. I got Oklahoma State winning this game. My final score, 37-24. Oklahoma State over Texas Tech. Nothing more to say. MF, your thoughts?
No, I actually agree with what you just said there, Florio. I just don't think that it's going to be a good matchup. It's going to be interesting to say, but I just think the Oklahoma State Cowboys are just too strong and they're too good, and I got them winning as well. So there's really nothing more to add, and I believe that brings us to the 3:30 games.
Yes, it does, and it leads to the main event. The game of the week. And MF gets to lead off on it right here. Game of the week, without question. A battle of unbeaten teams. And what makes it even better is it's the SEC on CBS. And you know how much we love the SEC on CBS, especially when the A team for it is there. The number 7 Auburn Tigers squaring off against the number 10 Florida Gators at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville, Florida. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Jamie Erdahl, they will have it. And the spread, slight favorite to Auburn. Auburn a slight favorite only by 2.5. But MF, as we always like to say for big games like this is what the words main event were meant for, because this right here is the main event of week 6, brother. It don't get no bigger.
And it's a big matchup. When you're talking about the SEC on CBS, Florida's got something to prove. This is their moment. Both teams are 5-0. Both teams been dominating. Both teams been playing really good. But this, for Florida, this could be the moment that could solidify them as a major threat in the SEC. But this is a rough stretch for Florida, because 3 out of the next 4, oh my God, listen to this, Anthony. Auburn, at LSU, at South Carolina, at home against Georgia. Woof. This has to be like, it's a now or never moment for them. This is going to be where we find out about Florida. If Florida some way, somehow beats Auburn, that is going to be a great point to propel them into what could be a make or break moment for them next week against LSU. So, I mean, more than ever before, this game is very meaningful for Florida, because the thing is with Auburn, after Florida, then you can say in a way they get an easy game. They get an easy game against Arkansas. Then they got to go to Baton Rouge to play LSU. So, I mean, their next 5 games is interesting, because it goes Florida, Arkansas, at LSU, at home against Mississippi. Then they go home to play Georgia. So, I mean, the same 3 teams, those dreaded teams, LSU, Georgia, they're going to have an impact down the line. But one thing that I notice on their lineup that's not on Florida, Alabama's lurking. Bama's in the building, and they're going to be playing Auburn, and you know what that is? Thanksgiving weekend. And we already know how that's going to go. So I got really nothing more to say. This is going to be absolutely a crazy, crazy, crazy game, to say the very least. But, oh my goodness, I'm going to go with Auburn. I just think they're going to have just enough to get the job done. Give me Auburn to win the game. I really got nothing more to say. Anthony, This is going to be the game of the week. We already know that. It's going to come down. It could be a one-possession game. That's all I'm going to say. This could come down to a one-possession game, but I just think Auburn just has enough to get by and win.
Fair enough. Of course, Lindsey McCormick will obviously agree with your sentiments, but anywho, the College Game Day Game of the Week features a pair of top 10 SEC opponents with fantastic defenses. Florida boasts 7 players, headlined by Jabari Zuniga and Jonathan Greenard, with multiple sacks, and another 10 with at least a share of another to tally 24 for the season, good for second nationally. The Tigers might not get to the quarterback as often, but they have a defensive front to rival any in college football. The lineup of Tyrone Truesdell, Marlon Davidson, Derek Brown, and Big Cat Bryant and Nick Coe have combined for 9 sacks and 16 tackles for loss. This one should come down to which offense can make more plays and fewer mistakes against the opposing defense. MF is going with Gus Malzahn and Auburn, based on their recent domination of Kent State, Texas A&M, and Mississippi State the last 3 weeks. Perhaps, maybe considering them as true playoff contenders, maybe, I don't know. Auburn has an impressive group of wins, yet is just now entering the difficult stretch of their campaign. The Tigers have a defense capable of limiting and frustrating Kyle Trask, but the same sentence applies to Florida's defense against Bo Nix. And this week, Jabari Zuniga and CJ Henderson are expected to return for the Gators. Unless the Auburn offensive line thrives, this is a big ask for Bo Nix. Just like with the Iowa-Michigan game, this is the other tough game for me to call here. My gut tells me to go with Auburn, but my heart is telling me to go with Florida at home because it's in Florida in the swamp. You know how tough it is to win in the swamp. But you know what? I'm going to take a chance here. I'm going for another respectful disagreement here. I'm going with Florida to win this one because it's the swamp. Would I be surprised if Auburn won? Absolutely not. But I'm going to go with Florida to pull this one out. Close game, as MF said. Could lead to some Shakespearean drama here. 20-16, Florida over Auburn, and what I think should be a 5-star Shakespearean drama classic. So nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next 3:30 game. NBC, it's my team. It's the number 9 Notre Dame Fighting Irish, once again at home at Notre Dame Stadium. And they're going to be hosting the Falcons of Bowling Green. We have, of course, your traditional Notre Dame commentary team, Mike Tirico, my man Doug Flutie, the beautiful Catherine Tappan, and, of course, you also have Chris Sims, who throws in a little field analysis here and there, the son of NFL Hall of Famer Phil Sims, as you all know. So they'll be there at Notre Dame Stadium to see them go up against Bowling Green. And Notre Dame is favored to win. They are the favorites. Not much, only 46. That's it. Oh, 46 for Notre Dame. Wow. I'm surprised it's not 60. Goodness gracious. But let's not kid ourselves here. Scott Loeffler's first season with Bowling Green is not going well. The Falcons have losses of 52 points to Kansas State, 28 to Louisiana Tech, and 42 to Kent State. There is your context for a Notre Dame blowout win. Ian Book going off. Tony Jones going off. Defense, field day. Nothing more to say. I mean, if you thought the New Mexico game was ugly, this one is going to be just as much. Notre Dame all day, 55-7 over Bowling Green. Nothing more to say, MF. I mean, Notre Dame last week, they had a bit of a fight against Virginia, but they eventually pulled away. The defense stepped up big, and now they've got a gimme against the Bowling Green.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll agree. That is a gimme. No doubt about it. And I agree. I think they're gonna win the game too. I really got nothing more to add there, bro. So let's just move on. Next game.
I still can't get over 46-point favorites. Wow. That's the most I've ever seen Notre Dame favored in any game in my lifetime.
Yeah, that's true too. That's very true. Yep.
Second highest spread in the history of our show. Of course, you remember some time ago, Alabama was a 55.5-point favorite, and they didn't even cover that spread.
They did, no, I think when they came up like 52. I know they came close, but they didn't. Yeah, they didn't get they didn't break it.
Yeah, it was 52. But anyway, let's move on to our final 3:30 matchup. Last year, when these two teams met, it was one of the games of the year. And for at least that one game, Gus Johnson went back to being screaming Gus Johnson that we love so much. I remember the video very well. It's the number 11 Texas Longhorns. They're going to be going up to they're going to be squaring off with the Mountaineers of West Virginia, Mountaineer Field at Milan Puskar Stadium. This will be over on ABC. We got Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, Todd McShay, Molly McGrath. They will be in the house for that one. Texas opening up as a 10.5-point favorite. MF, as I mentioned, these two teams played in Austin last year. West Virginia.
What a game.
I mean, we'll never forget the West Virginia quarterback with that bomb that made Gus Johnson go nuts, which we'll never forget. What do they have in store for an encore this time in Morgantown?
I don't know. I think that's the best way we got to say. We're going to wait and see what happens. It's going to be an interesting situation, but I'm gonna openly admit it. I'm gonna go with Texas. I think Texas is definitely gonna play good. I think they'll do really well. I think they're gonna win this game. So I got the Texas Longhorns knocking off West Virginia. It's gonna be close. I think this could be, like a 10-point margin. I got 31-20. Well, no. Wait. Hold up. 45-35. I know this is the Big 12. Come on, Mike. Wake up. 45-35. High-scoring affair. This is the place where defense come to die. Any other conference, there's hard-nosed defense. When it comes to the Big 12, not a chance. You hardly ever see defense in those games. 45-35. Florio, go.
Yeah. The context of this matchup says trap game for the Longhorns. They know Oklahoma looms next week. West Virginia isn't good this season, but has home field advantage and can embrace the spoiler role. But the Mountaineers also surrendered 10.6 yards a pass attempt to Kansas. So how are they going to stop Sam Ehlinger? The prospect of Oklahoma transfer quarterback Austin Kendall facing a suspect Harry is more than enough to tune in for this game. But the matchup is hard to unpack. The Longhorns rank 102nd nationally in yards allowed a game at 498, but had several key stops against offensive juggernaut Oklahoma State. And Kendall hasn't exactly been a world beater either, throwing for 871 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Neil Brown's team will play above its head for a quarter or two before Texas uses its better overall talent to put the game away after halftime. I'm going 44-24, Texas over West Virginia. I don't think it's going to be the 5-star classic we saw a year ago. So now we're going prime time now, and we're going to move on to the game that will kick off at 7 o'clock over on ESPN, as it will be the number 3 Maiden Georgia Bulldogs squaring off against the Tennessee Volunteers, Neyland Stadium, Knoxville, Tennessee. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, they will have the call for that one. And I'm going to have to pull my list here. Georgia opening up as a 24.5-point favorite. So let me get into this one here. Tennessee is on the brink of something, is quote unquote on the brink of something special, Georgia coach Kirby Smart said, per Anthony Dasher of Rivals. Bleacher Report's Adam Kramer replied, I imagine an assistant bet Kirby lunch that he wouldn't actually say this, and Kirby, like many of us who enjoy free lunches, jumped at the opportunity. And Georgia is about to take all of Tennessee's lunch money. it's been a hard times year for Tennessee. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, if the Volunteers are going to turn their season around, now would be the time to do it. Tennessee comes into this game reeling after a 1-3 loss, including a 34-3 drumming by rival Florida. In order to win this one, Tennessee will need to hold a line of scrimmage against an offense with several talented backs, including DeAndre Swift, Brian Herrien, Zamir White, and Kenny McIntosh. Unfortunately for the Vols, they haven't shown an ability to do that so far this season, ranking 66th nationally in rush defense, just north of 150 yards a game. Look for Georgia's running game to dominate and for Jake Fromm to turn in a quick, efficient day at the office. 41-10, made in Georgia all day. And MF, let the hard times continue for Tennessee.
Yeah, after Tennessee lost to Georgia State and BYU, they lost by 8 and then lost by 3. Had a nice win over Chattanooga, 45-0. You're thinking, all right, that might have turned the things around and maybe made things a little better. Oh, no. Then they got crushed by Florida, 34-3. Ouch. And I think it's going to get even worse because now you're playing Georgia. Yeah, I think Georgia wants to play tough because they kind of felt like they let one get away against Notre Dame. Even though, yes, they won the game, a lot of people thought that they were supposed to blow them out. Absolutely kick the daylights out of the Fighting Irish, and they let Notre Dame hang in there. And that was a little bit of a bitter taste in the mouth, and they've had 2 weeks to lament over that game. So I think you're going to see a very renewed, very focused, and a very angry Georgia team coming after Tennessee, and I think it's going to be a surefire blowout. No doubt in my mind. So, Anthony, it's yours. That next game.
And it's the third and final game of our triple main event out of the Big Ten. The ABC Saturday night game of the week right here, 7:30 kickoff. We have the number 4 Ohio State Buckeyes at home in the Horseshoe of Ohio Stadium. They're going to be hosting the number 25 Michigan State Spartans. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Maria Taylor. They will have the call. Ohio State opening up as a 20-point favorite. I know it's a big spread, MF. I know Ohio State's a lengthy favorite, but don't sleep on Michigan State. I mean, they were one field goal penalty called back away from being unbeaten themselves.
They were, no doubt about it, but the reason why I think a lot of people are just saying that they believe that that Ohio State is that big of a favorite is look at who they've beaten and how they've beaten them. Florida Atlantic, Cincinnati, Indiana, Miami of Ohio, and Nebraska. And each time they've gone 40 plus in all the games. And listen to this. In Florida Atlantic, they only gave up 21 points. In the last 4 games, defensively, they only given up 22 points. Think about that. The first game against Florida Atlantic, they gave up 21 points. Since then, they've only given up 22 of them. 0 to Cincinnati, 10 to Indiana, 5 to Miami of Ohio, and 7 to Nebraska. I'm sorry, Anthony. That is a recipe for disaster if you're Michigan State. And with Justin Fields and the way he's been playing, there's no doubt in my mind this will be another blowout. I got Ohio State dominating Michigan State and winning this one, going away. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. The Buckeyes faced their first real test of the season against a Michigan State defense that ranks among the nation's best. The Spartans ranked 7th in total defense, 254 yards a game. 4th in rush defense, just north of 56 yards a game, and 14th in scoring defense, 15 points a game. If there's one area this Buckeyes offense can exploit, however, it's Michigan State's pass defense, which has allowed 198 yards through the air a game and 6 touchdowns on the year. The Spartans will play tough against the run to limit J.K. Dobbins and Justin Fields' big play ability. So it's on Fields, who has 1,092 yards, 16 TDs, no picks, to make plays through the air. He's more than capable of doing that. The real question is whether Michigan State's quarterback, Brian Lewerke, who has 1,325 yards, 10 TDs, and 1 pick, Elijah Collins, 413 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Darrell Stewart Jr., 556 yards, 3 touchdowns, can score enough points against an Ohio State defense that looks better than it has in years. On the bright side, MSU put up 442 yards and 40 points against Indiana last week. The Spartans need that level of offensive production to compete Saturday night. However, the Hoosiers hit 33 of 42 passes for 286 yards and 3 scores, and were an overthrown pass from taking a fourth quarter lead. That's not a promising sign heading into a matchup with Justin Fields and a superb receiving core. Ohio State should roll in this one. I think Michigan State might give them some fits early, but I think maybe late third, early fourth, Ohio State will turn on the burners and put it away. Ohio State 38-17 over Michigan State. 7:30 on ESPN University. We're down to 4 games, by the way. 7:30 on ESPN University. Well. Look who's cracked the top 25. Coming in at number 24, it's the Mustangs of Southern Methodist University, or SMU for short. They're going to be hosting the Golden Hurricane of Tulsa over on ESPN University, Gerald J. Ford Stadium. That's where that game will be. We got Anish Shroff, Ahmad Brooks, and Chris Budden. They will have the call. SMU opening up as the 13-point favorite. So let's look into this. SMU has scored 37 plus points in every game and has cruised to a 5-0 record. Unless Tulsa, which ranks 123rd nationally in yards of play, suddenly turns into an explosive offense, Sonny Dykes and the Mustangs will improve to 6-0. I got SMU winning this one, 45-21. MF, it looks like we got some new darlings on the block here.
Yes, we do, and I'm gonna go with those darlings. I'm gonna go with the Mustangs. I think they're gonna win the game. There's really nothing more to say. So, Anthony, it's yours.
And MF, you'll be leading off on the next one. We're down to 3. 8 o'clock on Fox. We have the number 13 Oregon Ducks at home at Autzen Stadium in Eugene, and they're going to be in for a real tough fight here. Here's another sleeper matchup here. They're going to be hosting the 4-1 Cal Golden Bears. Ooh, should be a good one there. On the call for Fox, it will be, see if I can find it here, Brandon Gaudin, Brock Hurd, and Bruce Feldman. And Oregon opening up as an 18-point favorite. 18 points. I'm sorry, MF. That spread's a little bit disrespectful. Cal's not as bad as you think.
Well, you also got to remember they're just coming off a major loss to Herman Edwards and the Arizona State.
Right.
Arizona State.
Yeah,
they lost their last game.
That's true.
So I think that's why the spread is the way that they are. And plus, on top of that, Oregon just came off a big win over Stanford 2 weeks ago and actually had no problem with them. 21-6. So in a way, I kind of understand why the spread is the way that it is. And so I'm actually not going to discredit it or anything like that. I think Oregon's going to win it. And plus, they're at home.
Yep.
So if this was in California, I think this would be a little more tighter, a little more closer. But because it's in Oregon at Eugene, I don't see any problem with it. As a matter of fact, I actually got Oregon winning by at least 3 or 4 touchdowns. Sorry, Anthony. That's just the way I feel. I think Oregon's going to win this one pretty much going away.
And that will actually make Eric Carrier happy, our dear friend. I know it's been a rough year with him and you for another reason, but we'll save that for Saturday. But for right now, get into this. I do. This is an agree to disagree. I agree with you that Oregon is going to win. I have Oregon winning as well, absolutely. However, a matchup that many, including MF, may have dismissed at the start of the season suddenly now looks like a season impacting game for the Pac-12 conference. Justin Herbert and Oregon have rebounded nicely since that opening loss to Auburn and now face a 4-1 Cal team that has played well against tough competition. Herbert will have to beware of a secondary that has limited quarterbacks, and Chase Garbers could be a big X factor if he's able to suit up. That said, though, I still think Herbert and company will be able to make enough plays to keep the Ducks' slim playoff hopes alive. But unfortunately for Cal, quarterback Chase Garbers is out indefinitely because of a shoulder injury. The Bears remain a stout defensive team and can frustrate Justin Herbert, but I can't trust Cal to score enough points for the upset. So I will go with Oregon. My final score, 24-13, Oregon over Cal. 2 games left, and we move on to Pac-12 After Dark over on ESPN.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. 10:30 kickoff. We have the number 15 Washington Huskies squaring off against the aforementioned Stanford Cardinal. Stanford at a Stanford Stadium in Palo Alto. On the call for that one will be Jason Benetti, Rod Gilmore, and Quint Kessenich. And we have Washington opening up as a 16.5-point favorite. So the whole Stanford isn't that good thing is strange. It still feels like the Cardinal are suddenly going to figure out their problems and be competitive because that's what college football has come to expect. But they've allowed 9.4 yards a pass, which is tied for the 5th worst mark in the country. Washington should dispatch Stanford relatively easily. So I will say Washington will win this game. I will say the final score for that one will be 34-21, Washington over Stanford. Nothing more to say. MF, speaking of teams with hard times, Stanford, ever since they lost their quarterback, KJ Costello, all they've gone is down.
Yeah, I agree with that, Florio. I kind of feel like the way I feel about this game is I gotta go with I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna go with Washington as well. I just don't have that much faith with Stanford, so nothing more to say. Florio, go.
And we move on to the final game of the week. Another 10:30 kickoff. This one over on the CBS Sports Network. The number 16 Boise State Broncos squaring off against the UNLV Rebels at Sam Boyd Stadium in Vegas. On the call for that one for CBS Sports Network, it'll be Carter Blackburn, Aaron Taylor, the beautiful Jenny Dell. Boise State opening up as a 22-point favorite. So, MF, you start off on the final game of the night.
Well, Anthony, I'm gonna say this. The way I feel about this game is pretty simple. I kind of feel like Boise State is definitely the better team here. I think UNLV is going to give them a little bit of some fits throughout the game, but ultimately, I do got Boise State winning. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Okay. Against 3 FBS teams, UNLV has mustered 323.3 yards a game and scored no more than 17 points. Expecting that to change against Boise State is unwise. The Broncos are tied for 6th nationally in third down defense and have limited their last 3 opponents, Marshall, Portland State, and the Air Force, to 12 points a game. Boise State rolls 38-14. And that, my friends, will put the bow on this Week 6 edition of College Football Thursday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. MF, let's set the table for the most anticipated Cerebral Smack Talk show in the 3-year history of that program.
Yes, and indeed, tomorrow night is history, guys. 20th anniversary of SmackDown Live. SmackDown on Fox. Man, it's going to be a historic night. But as always, 10:30 start time. We're going to start at 10:30. And on top of that, we got a pay-per-view on Sunday that we haven't even talked about. That's right, guys. Hell in a Cell is this Sunday night. Therefore, it's going to be a preview. We got SmackDown Live, and then we're going to preview Hell in a Cell on for Sunday night. So, guys, be here 10:30 Eastern. Myself, Anthony, Bullock, Didi. It's going to be something else, guys. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night for the debut edition of this awesome show. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it is all yours.
And MF, before you go, I want you to hear this bold statement I'm about to make.
Sure.
In regards to tomorrow night's show. February the 5th of 1988, we all remember the infamous main event special that aired on NBC, which featured Hulk and Andre. We all remember that?
Yes.
That was the highest rated broadcast in the history of professional wrestling. It drew a 15.2 share with over, and I think they had like 33 million viewers, if I remember correctly. This show has the feel of that show, and who knows? I mean, I know it's very steep, especially nowadays, but Derek said that it's going to do big ratings. He thinks it's going to win the ratings for the week, and I couldn't agree more. And who knows? Could it challenge that main event special for the highest rated broadcast in wrestling history?
I think, honestly, I could see this going easily over 10 million. I think it'll go over 10 mil. I don't know if you're going to get 33 mil. I think if that does that, that is more than a ratings win for WWE and for Fox. I mean, they would go absolutely bonkers if they get ratings like that. But I could see easily 8, 9, 10 mil for SmackDown, because that would be even better than what they're expecting. So yeah, that's the expectation. And plus, with the way that the show is supposed to be, oh my God, this is going to be epic. Nothing more to say.
Roman Reigns versus Eric Rowan. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair against Bayley and Sasha Banks. And then the two big main events. The ladder match, Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon, loser is gone. And of course, the main event, Kofi Kingston, Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. And oh, by the way, several of our favorite legends, such as The Rock, Stone Cold, Hogan, Cena, you name them, they'll be there.
Oh, wait. Speaking of The Rock, I don't know if you heard this. I said something a second ago. Randy Orton's calling out The Rock.
Whoa,
Randy Orton is sniffing for a fight. The Viper is calling out the Brahma Bull. And not only that, he just threw the ultimate gauntlet. He just challenged them to a fight at WrestleMania.
You do Rock and Orton at WrestleMania 36. Bucky's going to be firing those cannons all damn night. Oh, Bucky, get those cannons ready, brother. No doubt about that. Rock and Orton at Mania.
That's what he said. He said he's going to see him. He said he's going to see him tomorrow night. So I think he's going to call him out.
Which would make sense given the Rock's schedule. I think this would be the perfect time to do it. Hey, they hyped Rock and Cena 1 a year in advance. Let's not forget that. They hyped that thing out for a year. This would be about 6 months. So, oh my word. You do Rock and Orton at Mania. That's a Mania dream fight. That's a mega fight right there. That's worthy of a WrestleMania. No doubt about it. Raymond James Stadium, get ready if that happens. Oof. But it all kicks off at 7:30 with a blue carpet special. Renee Young and Booker T. They're going to be hosting inside the Staples Center. The beautiful Carissa Thompson. She's going to be doing the blue carpet stuff because, she does have red carpet experience. So in addition to her football duties, and which she does damn well. So can't wait to see that. So it's going to be a loaded show, friends. The first 2 weeks are going to be loaded. This show tomorrow, and then the following week when you kick off the WWE draft. And I'm already dreading it as a Raw guy because I know SmackDown's going to rob us clean. So, but that's for another day. But tomorrow night's the review of that Friday night SmackDown and our preview of Hell in a Cell, loaded show. Only for pay-per-view shows, MF, we're going to have you put the Mikey's Mindset on hold. But for non-pay-per-view weeks, then you can throw out the Mikey's Mindset if you should have it. So,
now that there's a lot of wrestling, I got a lot of Mikey Mindset. I've now acquired the rights to NWA. I've now also acquired MLW as usual, Ring of Honor. And so, yeah, I got my Mikey's Mindset is going to be a lot more loaded thanks to this great new influx of professional wrestling. Yeah, we're going to have a lot to work on coming in. So, yeah, I'm excited.
I am too. And speaking of MLW, I saw that War Chamber match. Not the greatest, but not the worst either. That's all I'm going to say on that. But it was fun for me. I actually watched it. It was not bad. So, but anyways, we got to wrap up here. So let's just run it down. SmackDown review, Hell in a Cell preview tomorrow. Saturday, we will be bringing back for the first time in years. We're going to be bringing back NFL Saturday because of our loaded schedule. And then Sunday night, we'll have the recap of Hell in a Cell. And then Monday night, of course, Ridiculously Raw. And we do it all again. So that'll do it. So until tomorrow night, 10:30 for that humongous Cerebral Smack Talk show. It's Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher. And in spirit, Michael Bullock, Dee Woodson, Derek Ferrero. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you have been watching Week 6 of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.